Good morning. Joy Capozzi here with Bible Thought for today, July 31st. From Hebrews 11, verse 32. And what more shall I say? For the time would fail me to tell of Gideon and Barak and Samson and Jephthah, of David and Samuel and the prophets. The writer to the Hebrews goes on to list a few more Old Testament characters that exhibited their faith in God by their obedience. He lumps them together, but we will take a look at them one by one. Gideon. When you read the story of Gideon, he was probably not someone we would have chosen to lead anyone. He was hiding in a wine press to thresh out his wheat due to the oppression of the Midianites. An angel of the Lord appears to him there and calls him a mighty man of valor and tells him that God is with him. Gideon is stunned by this and raises his excuses, but the angel of the Lord won't let him off the hook. After this encounter, God instructs Gideon to tear down a prominent altar to the god of the Midianites, Baal. He was too afraid to do it by day, but he obeyed, and he did it at night. And shortly after, the Midianites rallied their troops to come against Israel yet again. But this time the Spirit of the Lord came on Gideon, and he blew the trumpet and rallied the people of Israel to form an army. However, Gideon was still hesitant and asked God to confirm that he was the man who was to lead the Israelites against Midian by putting out a fleece, and he did it more than once. But God worked with him and confirmed it to him. And once Gideon was convinced that God was with him and would bring deliverance, he rallied his men. But then God told him, "You have too many men." And he weeded out those who were too timid and afraid until Gideon only was left with 300 men to fight a huge enemy army. God knew Gideon was still fearful, so he told him to sneak near the enemy camp and listen to the conversation with his servant. And when they did that, they heard one man telling the other that he had just dreamt that a loaf of barley rolled into the camp and overturned the tent and it collapsed. The friend replied, "This is none other than the sword of Gideon." So Gideon finally had enough courage to follow God's instructions. You can read the account in Judges 7. I'll read just some of it here. Then he divided the 300 men into 3 companies, and he put a trumpet in every man's hand with empty pitchers and torches inside the pitchers. And he said to them, "Look at me and do likewise. Watch. And when I come to the edge of the camp, you shall do as I do. When I blow the trumpet, I and those who are with me, then you blow the trumpets on every side of the whole camp and say, 'The sword of the Lord and of Gideon.'" Their weapons were ridiculous from a natural standpoint. But God used the sound of their trumpets and the crashing pitchers and the firelight from their torches to make it look fearful to the Midianites by night. Then the Lord enabled them to win a huge victory because of Gideon's faith and obedience, even though he was hesitant and fearful. This story is a good reminder that God sees things differently than we do. He sees our hearts. He saw in Gideon a man who had faith in Jehovah and a passion for the people of Israel, and believed the miracle accounts he had been told of how God delivered the Israelites from Egyptian slavery many years before. We too can draw faith and courage when we recall the many answers to prayer and miracles God has worked in our own hearts and lives, so that whatever we may face today, we will continue to trust and obey him. God always comes through for us. Have a wonderful day and spread the word.